Twitter/AFPThe reinvented by Teats advertising reinvented by Teats Peter Kapern claims Brexit will result in the UK no longer being a world player. Peter Kapern says the failure of the negotiations on the EU's external border yesterday have sealed Britain's fate. The political commentator, who works for German public broadcaster Deutschlandfunk, went on to criticize what he described as Theresa May's reliance on the votes of right-wing populists from Northern Ireland, a reference to her allies the Democratic Unionist Party, DUP. In a post published on the radio station's website yesterday, he said, "Even if an agreement on Brexit will be found in the next few days, by today's event, every observer would have to realize that the United Kingdom will not only leave the EU but, above all, the world stage." Brexit is the biggest political nonsense since the Roman Emperor Caligula decided to appoint his favorite horse Incitatus as consul. Related articles: Farage calls on Prime Minister May to end talks for impossible Brexit with EU. Former Swedish PM claims Theresa May will not see Brexit through. AFPThe DUP's deputy leader Nigel Dodds reiterated his party's rejection of the PM's Irish border plans. Brexit is the biggest political nonsense since the Roman Emperor Caligula decided to appoint his favorite horse Incitatus as consul. Peter Kapern. Anyone who needed further proof of this thesis has received it today. His scathing assessment come after a last-minute intervention by the DUP scuppered a possible Brexit deal. The party's leader Arlene Foster refused any agreement which would see Northern Ireland split from the EU on different terms to the rest of the UK. Mr Kapern said, "The Brexit propagandists, who, by relying on lies and driven by the Murdoch press, have mobilised a slim majority on the island to leave the EU, with the promise that the United Kingdom would return to ancient imperial splendour, once the yoke of the European Union has been dropped." EU Council President Donald Tusk said yesterday he was ready to agree a deal and move on to trade. The PM appeared to be on the verge of sealing a deal with EU negotiators yesterday, but hopes for an agreement were thwarted after a fiery response from Mrs Foster's DUP stated the party would not back her plans. And now leaders from Scotland, Wales, London and Gibraltar have all called on the PM for their own bespoke Brexit deals after reports from yesterday's negotiations suggested the government was prepared to offer the EU regulatory alignment between Northern Ireland and the Republic. Mrs May is set to return to Brussels later this week, possibly as early as tomorrow, to continue talks and attempt to reach a deal on the border issue ahead of a major EU summit later this month. If a consensus can be reached on key divorce issues, the EU Parliament could give negotiators from both sides the green light to begin discussing trade. Additional reporting by Monica Pollenberg. Related articles: Tory MP confident DUP will give in to future plans for Brexit. David Davis rejects special deal for Northern Ireland. Brexit news: Labour flip-flop on single market membership policy.